Understanding and dealing with difficult people. If you want to build a ship, don't gather your people and ask them to provide wood, prepare tools, and assign tasks. Instead, call them together and raise in their minds the longing for the endless sea. Hi, this is Greg Starkman with Platinum Method Coaching. In today's installment of your Blueprint for Success, I want to talk to you about dealing with difficult people or people in challenging situations. Everyone has someone in their lives we just can't seem to connect with or get on the same page. Well, today, I want to give you a framework for identifying different traits and tips for dealing with them. Now, this is very different from the personality types discussed by Myers Briggs. Other possibly better words to describe it might be drive, energy, behavior, essence, or even mojo. But for simplicity's sake, I'm going to refer to them either as personality types or levels, but you can call it whatever you like. There are essentially 7 different levels that are characterized by thoughts, feelings, and actions. I'll try to describe each by defining their traits, as well as maybe giving you an example of a person like that to help try to give you a picture of what I'm talking about. Once you understand the different types, what drives, influences, and motivates them, I'll suggest some strategies for dealing with each type. The levels are, the first one is victim, which is characterized by a hopeless and helpless feeling. The second is fighter. This is characterized by conflict and anger, maybe like some president we know. Third level is rationalizer. The fourth level is caregiver, and I think the ideal person for that would be like a Mother Teresa. The fifth level is opportunity seeker, and think of the quintessential entrepreneur. The sixth level is visionary, and think of a Gandhi or an Elon Musk or a Steve Jobs. And the seventh level is creator, and probably there we want to think about a Dalai Lama. Now, it's important to understand that people fluctuate between levels during the course of the day, or depending on the situation they're in. For example, whether they're in a stressful situation or not. And every person may have a bit of these levels within themselves. I first want to go into detail about the core thoughts, feelings, and actions associated with each level. I'll give you some ideas and strategies for dealing with them. The first 2 levels are catabolic or negative destructive energy, and the next 5 levels are anabolic or constructive energy. So level 1, the victim. Their core thought is, I have no control over my life or the events that occur. Oftentimes, they're victims of crimes or someone who's been physically or verbally abused. Their core feelings are apathy, hopelessness, and helplessness. There's a total lack of engagement and enthusiasm. The result of these feelings are people who are lethargic and have an inability to take action. There's a total lack of initiative and failure to see any options. Their mantra is, I lose. They tend to have weak personal identities and low self-worth or sense of importance. They have little or no trust or confidence in themselves, people, or ideas in general. They feel so helpless and powerless that they avoid making decisions or taking any action. They tend to judge themselves harshly and feel like they've lost before they ever even tried. They may have great difficulty facing current reality or envisioning a future. And no faith equals no miracles. Now, we can all exhibit traits of the victim personality when our thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and perceptions work against us or prevent us from doing something. It can be our doubts, guilt, fears, worry, or anxiety. However, if someone exhibits a chronic victim mentality, they may be difficult or even impossible to motivate. Now, you can identify them by listening for continual statements such as I can't or I shouldn't. They only see problems and impediments. Now, all levels have advantages and disadvantages. The advantages of a level 1 is you don't have to do much. You have a very low energy output. Maybe this will allow you to be nurtured. Disadvantages are there's a total lack of engagement and no ability to lead yourself or others. But once again, no level is all good or all bad. Level 2 is the fighter. The core thoughts are conflict, struggle, judgment, black and white, right or wrong. The core feelings are anger, resentment, annoyance, hostility, irritability, and frustration. The results of their actions are resistance, disobedience, contempt, and rebellion. Their mantra is, "You lose." Now, you could use a level technique by dealing with an employee who has done something wrong, and you're just outright firing them. You don't look for win-win, because you're just telling them, you did something wrong, here's your punishment. You lose. Now, most people spend most of their time in level 1 or level 2, between victim passivity and anger conflict. Their fear-based energy makes them accustomed to focusing on problems instead of solutions. Now, the advantage of level 2 is your aggressive behavior can lead you to getting a lot done by yourself. You're also able to motivate others. The disadvantage is that motivation comes from anger or fear, so those cannot sustain themselves and will cause people to become dissatisfied, unproductive, or maybe even give up or quit. Level 3 is the rationalizer. Their core thought is responsibility. You should own your feelings and be accountable for your experiences and choices. The core feelings are forgiveness, condoning, pardoning, letting go of resentment or anger, or excusing fault and mistakes. The results of these feelings are cooperation and working towards a shared goal or benefit. They're good at coping and easily given to feelings of, it's good enough. People at level 3 are prepared to take responsibility for their actions, knowing that no one can make them feel anything. It's their responsibility and their choice to react or not react when it comes to events in their life. Their mantra is, I win. It's okay if you win too, but I must win. They tend to have a strong personal identity with good self-esteem and self-confidence. They have a confident belief in the truth, value, or trustworthiness of people, ideas, and other things outside of themselves. They're willing to work with people they like and tolerate people they don't, and that results in cooperation. The way to promote cooperation is to release everything that blocks it. So threatening someone at this level would be counterproductive. You need to find a way to help them release their fear, worry, guilt, and anger. To put this in perspective, an example of a situation where you could use a technique that resounds with someone of level 3 would be if you had an employee who was an alcoholic. Now, you could give them an option to stay sober and keep their job, or else they'd have to leave the company. You'll win either way by getting them to change their behavior and staying sober, or leaving the company if they can't. Using this method can help them see that it's to their advantage to get help. They have a choice, but either way, you win. The advantages of a level 3 are they don't allow other people to stand in their way. They also have the ability to avoid, block, or release negativity of others. But the disadvantage is they can be manipulative and self-concerning. Level 4 is the caregiver. The core thoughts are concern, care, interest, or involvement in connection with others. The core feelings are compassion, sympathy, and concern for the suffering of others, empathy, sensitivity, warmth, tenderness, kindness, and self-compassion. They tend to be happy, successful, playful, and fun. Their mantra is, you win. They don't take words or actions personally. They have a confident belief in the truth, value, or trustworthiness of people, ideas, and other things outside of themselves. They don't waste time worrying about what others may have done to them. Instead, they consider what each person's current problem may be and how they can help fix it. Now, like the rationalizer at level 3, they also tend to have a strong personal identity with good self-esteem and self-confidence. The advantage is they take very little personally. They truly care and try to help everyone do their job the best they can. The disadvantage is they can get caught up in other people's drama and sympathy. The next level, level 5, is the opportunist. Their core thought is reconciliation. We should all come together in agreement. They try not to judge and don't focus on right or wrong. Things are just the way they are. You always have the power to make choices. They're not driven by fear, but instead by opportunity. These people tend to be entrepreneurs and natural leaders. They're inspiring and motivating. Their core feelings are peace, calmness, contentment, and harmony. The results of these feelings are acceptance, believing, willingness to receive, agreement for what it is, and accepting the differences instead of trying to identify and focus on changing them. Their mantra is win-win. Also, like the rationalizer and caregiver, they tend to have a strong personal identity with good self-esteem and self-confidence. They have a confident belief in the truth, value, and trustworthiness of people, ideas, and other things outside of themselves. The advantage of a level 5 is they find opportunities in all challenges and take little to nothing personally. The disadvantage is they can experience paralysis by analysis and be disengaged from emotions. Level 6 is the visionary. Their core thought is synthesis. They like to combine separate elements and create a coherent whole, or a gestalt, in which the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Their core feelings are joy and a permanent sense of pleasure, happiness, and delight. The results of these feelings are wisdom and an attitude of, we'll figure it out. Their mantra is, everyone always wins. There's no, or at least a minimal sense of ego. They live in the present moment and are acutely aware. There's a deep inner knowing and belief, which does not need to be logical or have any proof behind it. The advantage of level 6 is they're empathetic and have the ability to feel and connect without judgment, as well as great intuition. The disadvantages are they may not be well grounded and can be out of touch with others and even be viewed as aloof. They may be big risk takers. Okay, the final level is level 7, the creator. This is the highest level, and the core thought is non-judgment, objectivity, and lack of fear. People at this level transcend their egos and become one with everything. The core feelings are total bliss, energy, intense desire or enthusiasm for all experiences. Their actions result in creation, bringing something new into existence, spontaneous manifestation of ideas, thoughts, and even genius thinking. Their mantra is, winning and losing are an illusion. They're not really interested in happenings in the real world, which of course can be a bit of a problem. Few people operate at this level. They also live in the present moment and are acutely aware. There's a deep inner knowing and belief, which does not need to be logical or have any proof. The advantage is they can create anything they want. They're connected to an intelligence of the highest order. But the disadvantage is nothing is seen as real. Now let's talk about moving between different levels. Once again, keep in mind that levels are not inherently good or bad. Each level has pluses and minuses. And we're aware of the 7 levels. You can consciously choose which level you want to work for you. Now, why would you want to do that? You may choose to do that because each level has an advantage that you want to take advantage of. Now, to visualize moving between levels, think of it like a stock in the stock market. During the course of a day, the price fluctuates, going up and down depending on whether more people are buying and selling. Thoughts and feelings, such as non-judgment and joy, they raise the price of your stock, while their counterparts, like victimization and anger, that lowers the price. So to deal with people in difficult situations, you need to get to the core of the situation and help them from the inside out. You need to empower those around you. People find power when it dawns on them that their true success isn't rooted in you helping them. It's grounded in you helping them find themselves. Try to understand their feelings and motivations and address them directly. That gives people a sense of control when they feel it, and they become engaged in what they do. And once this occurs, change and performance can skyrocket. Now, do you remember in the section on job dissatisfaction when I told you about my old boss? Our department got a new manager that was transferred from the Beverly Hills private banking operation to head up the credit department in New York. He started interviewing employees to get the lay of the land as he was new to the office. When he got to interviewing me, I essentially told him, I don't care who you are. This company is so rotten to the core and inbred that there's no hope of you or anyone else ever changing it or making any positive difference. Now, he was quite taken off guard by my anger and directness. Now, ironically, I didn't know it at the time, but he felt the same way. But he was a great manager, and it was his task to turn me around and get me on board. I essentially attacked him and told him off, so I wouldn't be surprised if he viewed me as a challenge. Now, I want you to start thinking about this as we go through some other things. Think about what level I was operating at and what could have been done to deal with me. Obviously, I was a disgruntled employee. And we'll come back to this later after we examine some approaches for dealing with other difficult children. So how do we deal with the level 1 or victim mentality? Now, once again, their feelings are that of hopelessness, apathy, and helplessness. And it culminates in a state of mind of, I hate myself. So the first thing you can do is acknowledge and validate their feelings. You can then address their concerns by asking for their input and keeping in mind the big picture, win-win. Assure them that things are not hopeless. Give them the message that you care for them. It could be quite powerful. You want to reaffirm that they're important to you and to the organization or whatever the situation may be. Honesty and mutual respect resonate really well. Now, you do want to try to identify if their attitude is chronic, because if it is, it may be difficult to make any progress with them. Now, you can find out by asking questions like, how are things going in other parts of your life? To try to raise their behavior from level 1 to level 2, a tactic you might do is to challenge them or attack them by asking very pointed or direct questions about their poor attitude, their performance, or their behavior. Confront them about whatever you're zeroing in on, for example, a negative behavior. Your objective is not to be combative, but rather to determine, are they willing to fight for themselves, or are they just a lost cause? Statements like, there's nothing I can do about it, may indicate that their condition is chronic. It's actually a positive thing if you can get them to get angry, because that demonstrates that they can be moved to a level 2 and let go of lethargy and be willing to fight for themselves. Of course, the opposite may occur, in which they blame everyone else and refuse to take responsibility for their actions. But ask direct questions and give them choices and time to respond. The next level is level 2, and that's once again driven by anger. Level 2s are going to be defensive and possibly combative. Their feeling is, I hate you. Fear and anxiety may be driving their behavior. This results in retribution, resentment, and defiance. Level 2 is all about control, or more specifically, attempting to control others. They usually act out of fear or pride. They think in black and white and see life with tunnel vision. If they feel that they have been wronged, they hold grudges and never let go of resentment. No matter how much evidence tells them they're wrong, their egos tell them that they're right. So their listening skills tend to be pretty poor, because instead of hearing what other people are really saying, they're thinking about what their response will be. Individuals who live at level 2 have a negative impression of the world and believe that in order for them to win, someone else must lose. People living at level 2 know how to play the game and get what they want, and they do usually win. However, the price for that may be their unhappiness, loneliness, and lack of fulfillment. They often make negative comments about others as they're in competition with everyone. They try to make themselves look better and make everyone else look worse. So if you can identify the source of these fears or anxiety, you can devise a strategy to help minimize or alleviate those feelings. A good strategy is put yourself in their shoes. Try to figure out why they do what they do. Oftentimes, they may want to feel important and valued, like they make a difference. They fight for what's most important to them, which is probably their self-worth. Now you can use this desire and turn it around. By becoming a collaborator with them, you can get them to fight for success instead of fighting with everyone around them. Demonstrate and reinforce that they're important and that they can trust you and you want to work with them. Redirect that negative energy for the greater good. It's good to get buy-in from people at this level, which will keep them engaged and get them to direct their energy towards success instead of anger and fighting. Acknowledge them and their feelings, their concerns, their fears, and their doubts. Remember, for them it's all about winning and losing, so you need to structure scenarios that allow them to win. A good question to ask is, what do you think the problem is? Or how can we partner for success? Make them feel like you're on the same side of the table with them. Now, another way to approach them is to ask, how effective have your actions been? If they acknowledge that they've not been very effective in what they're doing and they're having problems, ask them if they'd be open to a new approach that would allow them to win. Inquire about if it's necessary, and well, first inquire about it, but then if it's necessary, challenge their beliefs. The following are some thoughts that can be used to replace beliefs that are not working. These are my partners. I don't have to do it alone. I don't have to push anyone. Employees are not a drag on the business, they're an asset. We're all in this together. If you can get them to start thinking like that, letting go of the anger, and directing that negative energy towards positive energy, working for themselves, then you've created a powerful ally. Okay, now let's look at level 3, the rationalizer. A level 3 person's all about taking responsibility. Their feelings are, I forgive you. Their thought process might be something like this. The good news is not all is lost and there's still time to fix it. And if it's up to me, it's my responsibility to make things right and to win the game and score the winning touchdown. They still judge others, but they don't focus on blame. They accept people for the way they are, and that breeds cooperation. They consider themselves one of many spokes on a wheel, and to make the wheel turn, each spoke needs to do its job. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, people at this level are more interested in making a difference. They want to make a contribution and take pride in their achievements. They tend to react with logic rather than emotion. In dealing with people at level 3, the key is to remove obstacles from their success. You may want to resolve a problem which will allow them to move on. They want to do the right thing. You need to engage them and make them feel they're responsible. Point them in the right direction and just let them go. How do we deal with level 4, a caregiver? Level 4 is all about concern and caring for other people, so much that they may even put others' welfare above their own. They feel compassion and genuine connection and are ready to serve at a moment's notice. Now, it has to do with making a difference in the world by serving others. As they no longer take anything personally, there's no blame, and although they seek to help, they may seek others to help them do their own jobs better. They want to put their heart into it and figure out a way to help. They want to do the best thing. Their thoughts are, how can I help you? And their feelings are, I feel for you. Now, while a level 3 personality is more likely to use logic, someone at level 4, they're more likely to use their emotions. So success in dealing with the level 4 involves them allowing to fulfill their needs of helping others. Now, how would you deal with a level 4 you think has made a mistake? Well, for a level 2 or level 3, you might simply say you're wrong. But a more effective way of communicating with someone at this level, level 4, would be, what do you believe this report says about your perspective? Remember, the key to dealing with the level 4 is allow them to express their emotions and allow them to be helpful. Now we turn to level 5, the opportunity seeker. Entrepreneurs are simply those who understand that there's little difference between obstacle and opportunity, and they're able to turn both to their advantage. The entrepreneur always searches for change, responds to it, and exploits it as an opportunity. There are no mistakes, only opportunities. If you understand these statements, you understand the level 5 mentality. Their foremost thought is, what is the opportunity? Their feelings are, I understand you. They want to do what's best, and they don't see obstacles, only opportunities. So when things don't go according to plans, you can ask them questions like, so what have we learned from this? Where can we go from here? What do you think? How does this change our direction? Every situation to them is an opportunity for success. There's no judging, so they're open to new ideas. There's a feeling that everything happens for a reason. Telling a level 5 personality what you expect of them can help create a self-fulfilling prophecy. Think about ways to create synergies. They crave opportunities to express themselves using their gifts and their talents. They want to make a difference in the world. And when they aren't afforded the chance to challenge themselves or expand their talents and contribute, they might become disenchanted and shut down. So you want to keep them involved. Now we're going to turn to level 6, the visionary. Once again, this could be the Elon Musk or the Steve Jobs. Their feelings are, I am you. What is best for you is best for me. Of course, they want to do the best thing. Their core thought is synthesis, which is the blending together of people and everything else. You no longer think in terms of your own perspective. Instead, you transcend your own self. I see myself in you might be the way they think about things. Now, to contrast the different levels, at level 3, you forgive. At level 4, you look for a way to be of service. At level 5, you look for opportunity. But at level 6, no choices need to be made. Situations are experienced not as good or bad, but only as situations. There's little need, if any, to make judgments about yourself, others, or life's occurrences. While you still feel the pain associated with everyday living, you don't judge it. Level 6 is the diamond in the rough, which is still inside the coal. So there's high potential for creativity and development of self and others, because there are fewer blocks in the way of potential. Level 6 personalities are usually role models and viewed as being wise, kind, and fair. They're willing to do anything they'd ask of anyone else. They're highly intuitive, and they listen to feedback without ego blocks, and they're always trying to improve things. They give detailed information to people they work with on a regular basis. Their philosophy is the more you know, the more things flow. They see everyone around them as equal and gifted. It's about creating a team in which all the parts work together, without any one part being more important than the others, because the breakdown of one part can mean the breakdown of the entire machine. Now, this doesn't, of course, mean equal pay for everyone, because they do believe you get paid according to your talents. But everyone is important. What matters most is keeping everything moving forward. Now, this brings us to the final level, which is level 7, which we call the creator. Their feelings are, I am. Now, this doesn't really exist in the real world, because they view it as there are no clients, no words need to be spoken, and no business takes place. This brings us to the theoretical level that Einstein described by saying that fields of energy are the only reality. When energy resonates at such a high level, it's not visible to the human form. Now let me try to give you an example of this. Let's think about a fan you have, but it's not turned on. How much energy do the blades expend? Of course, the answer is none. But if you take that same fan and you turn it to a medium setting, now there's more energy, so the blades, they seem to blend together. But if you take that same fan and turn it all the way up, put it on high, what happens to the blades? They actually seem to disappear completely, even though they're there and they're moving fast, as there's much more energy coming from them. So to put this in perspective, People at level 5 create opportunities from challenging experiences. At level 6, they create opportunities from all experiences. But at level 7, people's creative ability is constant, and it doesn't even require an opportunity to present itself. In a sense, life is the opportunity. The more judgment-free we become, the happier and more successful we'll be, and less friction we'll have with those around us. In fact, there's actually an inverse relationship between levels of judgment and our level of creation. So I want to give you 2 quick concepts now. The first is the concept of detached involvement. This kind of experience means we're totally engaged in a task or activity, yet completely detached from the result. Another technique or tool we can use is dealing with people or situations is called holographic thinking. This means we have the ability to see multiple perspectives at once. For example, if you look at a photograph, you see it as the camera sees it, which is only one dimension. Holograms are produced by using mirrors, which produce a 3-dimensional image. When we view situations holographically, we can view the situation as a whole, not taking in just one dimension, but all of them. So to sum up level 7, because there's no judgment, we don't waste energy seeing things from only a right or wrong perspective. When we no longer focus on finding a right answer, we instead create powerful solutions. Now, I realize this has gotten a bit theoretical, but I did want to take you through the entire spectrum and some strategies for dealing with each. But now it's time to come back down to earth and tie everything together. So let's go back to my situation that I described earlier when I worked for the bank. Were you able to identify what level I was operating at? And what techniques would you have used to make me a productive employee? Well, here's how things actually turned out. I was operating at level 2, in which I was angry, frustrated, and hostile. Realizing this, my old boss reeled me in by first acknowledging and empathizing with me. He put himself in my shoes and asked for my input. He asked me questions like, "What do you think of the problem?" He got buy-in from me that way, and he asked how we could work together to fix it. He asked me what I would do if I was in his shoes, which really turned me around. It gave me the opportunity to feel like I was part of the solution instead of part of the problem. He was a great manager and understood all the things we talked about today. Ironically, ultimately, he became a huge influence in my life, as he's the person responsible for bringing me to California, which completely changed my life. But it was all because he recognized where I was and what he needed to do to move me to a different level. So everything we talked about today, this is not just some theoretical mumbo-jumbo. These are real techniques for effecting positive change in your life by changing the way you interact with the people around you, some of whom can be quite challenging. So before we close today, I'd like to give you a few more ideas for dealing with people. We won't call them difficult, just people in general, or situations in your life. These are techniques often utilized by good leaders. One of them is empowering the people around you. Encourage them to take their own steps. Share detailed information. Get feedback and buy-in. Use feedback. Plan the future. Make sure it's future-focused, though, not crisis-focused. Use whole brain thinking, not only logic, which is the right side of your brain, or emotion, which is the left side. Use the entire brain and look at it both ways, logically and emotionally. And appreciate the human resources. Anybody can pretty much do anything. It's a matter of giving them the right resources and tools to do it, and removing blocks from what's in their way. It always helps when you ask probing questions like, what do you really want? Will your current behavior get you there? Would you be open to a new line of action that will ensure the result you want? Now, you may have noticed I probably spent more time talking about people at the lower levels, and this is because the lower levels probably constitute 80 to 85% of the people out there in the world. People at level 6 and 7 you rarely will ever encounter, and people at level 3, 4, and 5, even though you encounter them, they're less likely to be difficult. So, the techniques that we've discussed, especially focusing on 1, 2, 3, and it can really make a difference in your life. Anyway, I hope you found this helpful. This is Greg from Platinum Method Coaching. I know there's a lot here today to comprehend, but if you take time to understand it, it can greatly enhance the quality of relationships in your life. People at home, people at work, people you just deal with on a day-to-day basis. Remember, the best way to predict the future is to create it. So if you have any questions or would like to know more about this, call me at 800-217-7113 and take the first step to bring your life into balance. You can also email me at greg@platinummethod.coaching.com or visit my website, platinummethod.coaching.com, or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or Yelp. So until next time, remember, destiny is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. It's not something we wait for. It's something we achieve. So make it a great day.